Hi, how are you? I'm representing the Irish Greyhound Board here, the Tourism Ireland India Sales Mission. We are a government agency that are 90 years in operation in Ireland. We were established in 1927, so celebrating a big anniversary this year. And I suppose what our expectation, we came on the sales mission this year, is because we're looking for new and emerging markets. We do a lot to the European tourist markets, and we do a vast amount of work domestically. Because originally the Irish Greyhound Board was set up to create employment in Ireland, people still have an affinity with greyhound racing, and 1 in 4 Irish people go greyhound racing during the year. For example, at Christmas we would host about 28,000 people for their Christmas parties, so by the time Christmas comes along, we've had enough of Christmas at that stage. I suppose our unique selling point for the Indian market is that we offer where they can go, that it isn't just tourists, there's actual Irish people there as well on their night out. So you could be sitting beside a family group, a company on their night out, a corporate banking group, and I think that's what makes it a lot of fun. It means that you can interact with those around you, and we still offer the best of dining, great service, and I suppose racing then as part of it, betting and all of that. So the extras that we offer any groups would be that they can employ a tipster for the night to explain to them about the racing and the nuances, and we could do something like name a race after the group, where they get to go out and do the presentation to the winning owner and trainer, which is always a super treat for people, and especially because the Indian market love Facebook as much as we do. They get to post the picture straight onto Facebook and show people at home, Nana, look what I'm doing, this is different. We also have we work a lot with the operators and trying to develop different nuances that is applicable to their market, and trying to make the event special, because at the end of the day we're looking at this, that anybody who comes in leaves as an ambassador for the night out, so they tell everybody at home, you should include this in your programme, it's a really excellent event.
But what are your prime market? What's your top market?
Our top market is Ireland, it's a domestic market, and after that then you would be talking about the next market is the German market, French tourism market, and then you would be UK for FIT rather than groups, and then after that then would be a mixture of the other European markets. So this year already we've been to China also, so we see the two markets as opportunities for us, but we're talking about 18 to 24 months before we really develop the markets, because this is kind of meeting people, because at the end of the day people buy from people, and we're using this as an opportunity to get to meet the people on the ground, and that's the fantastic thing about these missions, that you get to meet everybody on the ground, you get to explain your product to them and start building a relationship from there.
But how many tourists do you get annually?
Last year we had about 36,000 pre-booked groups into our venues, which when you look at that, in 2006 we only had about 1,500. We've grown it quite considerably over the last number of years, so we're looking to add to that then as part of the programme.
When we talk about adding numbers and when we talk about adding more tourism, how about your unique? What new things you have added up there?
Well, for us, it would be the fact that we've a great Irish heritage. We're 90 years in existence, and we can tell a great story. Actually, on the very first night of racing in Dublin, 1927, we actually have the footage from the British Pathé News that shows the very first night of greyhound racing. So anybody who's coming in, we can tell them the story of our venues, the story of our product, how we've developed and what we're offering now. But at the end of the day, the core product is still greyhound racing. It remains as it was. We've obviously just developed restaurants around that, and we've developed a whole evening's entertainment around that event.
And what are the challenges you're facing now?
Well, I suppose some of the challenges are, there's a currency challenge with the British market, and British tourism is down 6%. Some of the challenges that we have a lot of competition now in the entertainment field. Any sporting event is our competitor now in Ireland, unfortunately, and we just need to be out there and encouraging and I suppose educating more people about what we offer, and encouraging people to include us in their itineraries.
And what feedback you're going to take up from this mission?
Well, I've had great feedback here today, and I have to get busy when I get back because I have lots of follow-up to do, and it has been a fantastic response to us. I mean, while most people are aware of greyhound racing, they certainly weren't aware that we're a government body. They certainly weren't aware that we offer the standard of service that we offer, and I think that I'm really hopeful in potential from it. But again, it's back to work for us next week to get it across the line.
Thank you, Ola.
You're welcome.
Over to you.
Hello, David's my name, and I represent the Irish National Stud and Gardens. Like Ola, it's primarily a government-owned organisation. It's an incredibly unique product, and it's unique in the fact that the bloodstock industry is a very closed industry. It's very wealthy people who breed some of the most expensive animals in the world. But we're the only one of its type that's actually open to the public, where you can physically get down and really get into a stud farm and meet all the mares, the foals, the stallions, the geldings, and learn exactly what we do. We're situated just outside Dublin, so we're very good from an army, Dublin venue, but also travelling to anywhere, Limerick, Cork. We're right on that main road as well. When the visitors come, we give them a tour, which incidentally has a great Indian connection, because the original person who gave it to the English nation, he spent all of the 1890s as a colonel in the British Army based in India, and he brought back lots of Indian traditions, and we talk about that when people come. He was so committed to getting a title off the king that he gave it to the English nation, and he became a lord. He became Lord Wavertree for giving it, and our farm then became the English national stud. And then eventually, 20 years after independence, the Irish government took it on, and it became the Irish national stud. We get about 124,000 people. The majority of those would be the domestic market would be domestic. About 50% then would be outside. The majority of that would be from the Americas, Australia, New Zealand, but we're finding, I've noticed in the last few years, a lot of the emerging markets, like the Indian markets, beginning to come into our farm. So when we had a familiarization group came in 2 months ago, they were so impressed. They said, you've got to come over to India, tell us more people what you do, because this is something that's really so unusual. And it's the breeding of the farm is interesting. There's mares and foals. We foal about 250 babies, and they're all over the farm. But what is more unique is all the stories, like the stallions are worth, we have a stallion that is worth about 50 million euro. And for each individual lady, he gets about 10 million rupee for one lady, and he might have 4 ladies in the day. So he's a very happy and a very, very rich man. So, but that sort of story, people go, so they come thinking they'll see a farm, but they leave thinking, oh my God, I had no idea what this business is about.
And what are the challenges you're facing now?
Well, face it, from a tourist point, of course, we still have a bit Brexit going on, as Ola mentioned. We also had anything that is committed. We had there was about 20 years ago, there was something called Foot and Mouth that closed us down. And then, of course, the world market, 9/11 closed the whole industry down and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
From a commercial on the farm, we are reliant on this one horse I was telling you about. He's now worth 50 million, but he's 20 years old, so we can't give him life insurance anymore. So he's not going to be around forever. So that is a big, big concern.
And what is your take from the Indian market?
At the moment it's very marginal, but hugely growing. And what I'm being most impressed, incredibly impressed, is that I have colleagues that came here last year and the year before, and the amount of people who say, we have a tour coming in, I am now going to come to you, or we physically have got bookings next year, we are going to come. The actual people who have already organised, it's an incredibly growing market, incredible growing market.
And your conversations and your discussions with the Indian travel agents, what was the encouragement you had from them?
As I've just said, extraordinary. That they've
shown quite a good interest in that, right?
It is beyond my dreams, the amount of when people. I was expecting to be able to tell people about Ireland. They know about Ireland. When I say I'm just south of Dublin, they go, "Oh yes, on the way to Kerry." People don't need educating in the industry. They need to be told. I'm blown away about the amount of knowledge the agents know about Ireland.
Oh, thank you very much. And over to you now.
Good afternoon. My name is Claire Garrihy, and this is my husband Eugene Garrihy. And we are here on this mission to India to promote our family business. It's family owned, very simple, very straightforward. We're the directors of Dublin Bay Cruises and family business also in Doolin, providing what we love doing. Cruises to the Cliffs of Moher and day trips to the Aran Islands, and also 75-minute cruises around Dublin Bay, where people get the opportunity to see Dublin from the bay. A unique perspective. So on the west coast, to start off with, in 1999, Eugene was born and bred in Doolin. He's one of 11 children. They come from a fishing background. His father fished, his father had a fish processing business. And in 1999, they decided it was time to sell the fishing boats and buy passenger boats and bring people to see the beautiful sights of the Cliffs of Moher from the water, a unique perspective. Over there is one of the biggest bird sanctuaries in Ireland, 40,000 nesting birds there every year, the puffin being the most popular. We also do day trips to the Aran Islands. Rugged Ireland landscape at its best, totally unspoiled, back in time. Very few cars on the islands, so people like to go, families in particular love it. They hike or bike or take a pony and trap tour. Unlike Mumbai and Delhi, you don't hear the beep beep on the Aran Islands, you hear the clippity clop of the horses.
That's absolutely right.
Yes. So they go there, they find it absolutely, an escape. They love to park their car, take a day trip to the islands, and on the way back then they can combine it with the Cliffs of Moher cruise and see the Cliffs of Moher on the way back. In Dublin Bay then, 5 years ago, Eugene, having lots of experience with the business in the west of Ireland, noticed a niche in the market on the east coast. Strangely enough, Dublin is a city on the verge of nature. Up to 5 years ago, it wasn't possible to take a boat trip around Dublin Bay, and north and south to the fishing village of Howth and Dunleary, and take in the wonderful sights that can be seen on Dublin Bay, the home of the Dublin Bay prawn, which is famous. So that's the reason we're here.
That's the new one you threw in now today, the Dublin Bay prawn.
Yeah, the Dublin Bay prawn. I forgot about that one today.
I think, which is also important to mention, that we're all about sustainable tourism. So where Claire spoke about on the west coast, at the Cliffs of Moher and the Aran Islands, it's a UNESCO geopark. So it's where, and in Dublin where we operate, it's a biosphere, a UNESCO biosphere. And as you know, a biosphere is where industry and commerce works in harmony with nature. So all of the tours that we do, we inform our passengers as to the benefit of protecting the environment and working within the environment that we have. So that is a big part of our business. And as you know, you mentioned earlier on why did we end up in India?
Yeah.
We do European tours. We haven't gone to the Far East before. The reason we've come here is because we see an increasing amount of our passengers, a percentage of them, a substantial percentage of them, are Indian people. So we said, okay, listen, if Indian people like to go out in the water, we better go and find a few more. And that's why we're here. And we've got a fantastic reception here from the Indians, from the Indian people. So it's been a good. And you mentioned challenges earlier on. I think the big challenge in world tourism is, a protection against mass tourism.
Absolutely.
And to be absolutely clear about that, we are in a very, very special area in Ireland, all around Ireland, from where Tipperary and Kildare and Dublin. It's a very, very special place. We're very aware of that, and I think when we do trips like this, we are especially aware of what we've got. So we have a big job of work to do to protect it and to look after it.
But we are talking also about, when you're talking about sustainable tourism, we are talking about niche tourism, we are talking about luxury tourism, we are talking about tourism tourism in totality. When we talk about all such aspects of tourism,
we are, but we're not talking about niche tourism. We are not. No, I mean we are wide open for tourism, but we are priced very. It's very achievable for all earners.
Yeah.
So it's whether you come with a big wallet or whether you come with a budget holiday. We will take you and respect you the same way, because we feel that people that are on the breadline or just making life as they go, they need to see these things and to learn from it.
that's a very good point. What you have said, that the destinations, when we sell it to the people, is it for, whether it is for niche or whether it is for budget traveler,
it's for anybody.
It is for anybody. The destination should be for
all of us actually have for example, we would have packages. Really, one of our unique selling points, we've packages to suit all pockets, and that would be either the domestic market or the foreign market. So we would do a group series who would very much be on a budget traveller, and then we would create tailor-made packages then around the VIP high-end client. And I mean, it would be the same for you. They just haven't, but they still are all treated the same from the moment they cross, and they still would be all very important to us as a customer.
Our group rate is around €8 a head, and that gives you a free tour and a whole day or an hour, how long as you want.
But don't you think that mass tourism, when we talk about mass tourism, when we talk about Is it not that we are trying to play with the nature also? You're talking about sustaining tourism, sustainable tourism?
Well, I suppose in our areas where we operate, we have a limited capacity. It is not limitless. It's a limited capacity. So I suppose we are in a lucky position that where we can go out there and we can offer it to all walks of life, but we can only take a certain amount of people.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you very
Can I just say we would love to show you images, but it's not possible with the short time. But DublinBayCruises.com or Doolin to Arn. Doolin number 2 Arn. Yeah, it's on the card. Yeah.
What I suggest is that you just send us some of your images,
Yes,
and
yeah.
we'll try to incorporate in this special live telecast of Travelspan TV and showcase to our viewers that. Thank you very much, all
Thank
of you.
you so
Thank
much.
you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank
Thank you
for
very
this.
much.
Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you.